motivation to get back so that we could prove ourselves and know that we deserve more. And
the BYU women's soccer team kicks off the NCAA tournament tonight against Boise State.
Probably about 200 soccer teams in there during the winter semester.
A debate between BYU football fans and students who play intramural sports on how the indoor practice facility should be distributed.
Top of the key, down to 8, down to 7. Jake straight away, step back 3, takes it and makes it! Jake, the make.
And BYU men's basketball bounces back from a tough loss on a big night from Jake Toulson. I'm Blake O'Rulian.
And I'm Paul Swenson, and it's time for Sportsline. Blake,
we meet again.
It's good to be back. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing really good. I'm happy LSU's #1.
You had a great pick last week.
I was a lone man on an island, and now everybody wants to come and come and visit me. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well done.
WCC champions BYU women's soccer will host Boise State in the first round of the NCAA tournament tonight at 6.
That's right. BYU earned a 2 seed in the tournament and is currently ranked 4th in the nation.
That earns the team a date with the 2 seed in this quarter of the bracket, and that belongs to.
This is BYU's 20th tournament appearance. This comes after being the only undefeated team in the country after going 18-0-1 overall. On top of being in the tournament, head coach Jen Rockwood and star player Michaela Colohan take the WCC Coach and Player of the Year. 9 others were honored with either all WCC first team, second team, freshman team, or honorable mention list. This marks Rockwood's 23rd winning season of the 25 she's coached.
Women's soccer found much success in their conference and hope to find success in the NCAA tournament.
Sportsline reporter Sarah Hozian has more on how the team is preparing for the tournament. Sarah?
BYU women's soccer has had a dominating season and remain the only undefeated team in the nation. That being said, their season isn't over yet.
And in play, Serasio, 30 yards out, a shot deep, and scores!
After finishing their regular season ranked #4 in the United Soccer Coaches Poll and the Top Drawer Soccer Poll, BYU is awarded the #2 seed in the NCAA tournament and will host Boise State. Both the coaches and the players are ready to redeem themselves after a disappointing loss to TCU in the first round last season.
The expectations coming back this season, just knowing that a goal to get back and to perform a little bit better, and I think that's been something that's been a good motivator for us.
we've all kind of had motivation to get back so that we could prove ourselves and know that we deserve more. And so we've had that in the back of our minds this whole season.
Team captain Michaela Colohan was named WCC Player of the Year and has had a major impact on this team. She hopes to continue to be a team leader as they take on the Broncos.
Just set the energy, set the tone for the team, be a leader on the field so that we get a good start and hopefully get some momentum going into halftime.
Coach Rockwood contributes much of their success to the team's experience and strong leadership, especially on the defense.
We focus a lot defensively on our team because we know defense wins championships, and that's allowed us to keep the ball out of the back of our net and just attack.
On top of having an elite team, they also have an elite fan base. With the game being at home, the girls hope to have a big crowd and feed off the energy of the fans.
We have one of the best fan bases in the country for women's college soccer. They've shown that year in and year out. We feed off that energy. It means a lot to the players and to us as coaches to have that support.
Take on the Broncos right here at Southfield tonight at 6 p.m. I'm Sarah Hozian reporting for Sportsline.
Thanks, Sarah.
The women's soccer team is not only preparing for the tournament, but for the future as well. BYU women's soccer signed 5 players to play for Coach Rockwood: Haven Empey of American Fork, Paula Garcia of Mapleton, Abby Cotter of Providence, Tara Warner of Springville, and Brooke Hale of Danville, California will all take the field for BYU next season.
BYU football takes on Idaho State tomorrow and will also celebrate their seniors in the last home game of this season.
It kind of just hit me last game, honestly. I only have 2 more games in Lavelle, and so I'm just trying to soak it all in and cherish every moment that I have left.
The Cougars will honor 19 seniors on Saturday, including Diane Woloku, Ulave Hifo, Micah Simon, and Austin Lee. Idaho State has a 3-7 record this season. The game will begin at 1 p.m. at Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
Since its completion in the summer of 2003, the indoor practice facility has been the hub of BYU athletics, as well as intramural and extramural sports. As the temperatures go down outside, usage of the IPF goes up. But how does BYU decide who gets to use the facility? Let's take a closer look.
Each spring, the BYU football team uses the indoor practice facility to begin prep for the next season. Along with the football team, other BYU sports like golf, baseball, softball, track and field, and soccer also rely on the facility to train during colder months. The IPF was first announced by then BYU President Merrill J. Bateman at a football game in September of 2002. In this article written by BYU Magazine, Bateman is quoted saying, "We have known for a long time that in order to maintain and continue our athletic success, we must provide the very best resources and facilities for our student athletes. BYU's new athletic complex will achieve that objective." So, was the IPF intended for just athletes? What about other BYU students? Today, multiple groups, including BYU athletics, intramurals, extramurals, and academic classes, all work together to schedule the IPF.
It works out pretty well. I think most groups are happy to have the opportunity they have to be in there.
Over 10,000 students participate in intramural sports each year, and a major portion of that group uses the IPF for intramural soccer.
Really opened up our winter semester soccer. When that facility opened up, we decided to experiment with winter semester soccer, and it was wildly popular right out the gate.
Some disagree with how the facility is used, saying athletes should have full access to the indoor fields. Former BYU football player Hans Olsen said he's witnessed BYU athletes, quote, shooed off the field to give time to intramural students, something he said needs to be reconsidered. As for now, the groups will continue to share time with the IPF, providing an opportunity for all BYU students to use the facility.
BYU students will continue to share the IPF for classes, sports teams, clubs, and intramural games. Currently, the facility is used all day with classes in the morning, practices in the afternoon, and intramural contests in the evenings.
The Broyles Foundation announced BYU's passing game coordinator Aaron Roderick as a 2019 Broyles Award nominee, which honors college football's top assistant coaches. Roderick is also serving as the quarterback's coach and has driven a passing game average of 281 yards per game, ranked 27th nationally. The winner will be announced on December 10th in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Following their loss to Washington State last Saturday, the BYU women's basketball team tallied their first win of the season over Texas A&M Kingsville. The Cougars came out hot in the first quarter, holding Texas A&M to only 3 points in the first quarter, and kept their foot on the gas pedal all night. A lot of this win had to do with a solid team effort from everyone, 53 points off the bench for BYU, as well as a solid night at the free throw line, shooting nearly 91%. The Cougars hope to stay hot as they head to California next Thursday to face the Fresno State Bulldogs. The BYU men's basketball team pulled away late in the game to hold on to a 68-63 win over Southern Utah University Wednesday night in the Marriott Center.
Top of the key, down to 8, down to 7. Jake straight away, step back 3, takes it and makes it! Jake the Make.
Jake the Make Toolson led the Cougars with 22 points, while Dalton Nixon added 13 points and 7 rebounds. SUU was up by 2 with 4 minutes to go until Toolson took over for the Cougars. Toolson hit a step-back 3 from the top of the key to put the Cougars back up by 4 with 34 seconds left. Then Alex Barcelo sealed the deal with 2 free throws. The Cougars now hit the road and take on the Houston Cougars tonight.
The BYU men's tennis team wrapped up their fall season with a final match at the Southern California Intercollegiate Tournament. Sportsline reporter Sierra Phipps is here to tell us what happens next for the team.
The men finished strong not only in the California Intercollegiate Tournament, but also competing in the ITA National Championship last week.
The men's tennis team performed well in both national tournaments this last week. In the men's tennis national tournament, the BYU tennis team qualified both Mateo Melendez and Sean Hill in the singles portion of the tournament. This is not an easy accomplishment. Melendez shared the emotions he felt when he found out.
It's tough. It's a lot of different emotions. I was nervous at the beginning of that last point. I was nervous. I was happy, tired. It's just a lot of different emotions in 1 minute, 1 second.
Even though it may be nerve-wracking playing against the best athletes in the nation, it is still an honor for the men to play there.
For me, it's a little bit intimidating just because when you watch them, like everyone's so good. They hit with such good topspin, such great power. But it's also great to just be in an atmosphere where you're surrounded by such great players.
The two men performed well at nationals, and the rest of the team qualified all of their double duos and 5 of their single players at the final tournament of the season.
the Southern California Intercollegiate. With many of the players advancing to the main draw, they fought hard and had some victories over their opponents. Ultimately, the team came up short at both competitions, but have no plans of stopping the momentum they did gain. They plan on immediately commencing their off-season training and continue to build on what they accomplished these past few months. With a pretty successful fall season, BYU men's tennis will go into their winter season with the plan of keeping up the hard work and winning a title.
The Browns and Steelers faced off last night on Thursday Night Football, but the result wasn't the big talking point.
That's right. A major fight broke out, and it was pretty nasty.
I'll tell you more about the consequences of the fight and how people are reacting on social media.
And we'll tell you about the world's fittest teen's accomplishments and what he hopes to accomplish next.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Because of you, I feel not alone in this world, and you let me know that it only takes one person to make you feel wanted.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
A brutal fight broke out between members of the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers in their game last night. The fight involved Browns defensive end Myles Garrett hitting Mason Rudolph of the Steelers in the head with his helmet.
Hayden Wallace has all the reaction from social media. Hayden, what has the NFL world been saying on the incident?
Yeah, last night literally everyone was talking about the fight. Only a few hours ago, the word Garrett was top of the trending list on Twitter, and a close second was Myles. This is a big deal. The brawl broke out in the closing seconds of the game. The Browns would go on to win. Here's how it played out.
2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 4 passes defensed, and now a set. Mason Rudolph got into it to get out of there. What in the world?
Absolute mayhem to end the game. The reaction online has been huge, so let's see what people have been saying, specifically people in the NFL. MVP Patrick Mahomes said on Twitter, "Bro, I can't even believe that just happened." JJ Watt of the Houston Texans tweeted twice, first saying, "Wow, that is scary, really hope he's okay." And then this, "Wow, that is insanity, wow." Former Steelers linebacker James Harrison went as far as to say, "That's assault at least." 6 months in jail on the street, now add the weapon and that's at least a year, right? And Hall of Famer Kurt Warner said, "I have no idea what I just saw on Thursday Night Football with Myles Garrett. How in the world can you be so unaware? How can you allow your emotions to go unchecked and swing a helmet at another player's head whose helmet you tore off to hit him with? I'm physically upset right now, and I was watching on TV." This morning it was announced that Garrett has been suspended without pay for the remainder of the postseason. We'll be right back.
You can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the king, come banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You could touch a God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself. Standing in the Hall of Fame. And the world's gonna know your name.
Where's Tommy?
I thought he was with you.
No.
Jack.
Tommy?
Oh.
Don't stop. Keep playing. Here we go. Here's the fun part.
Encouragement. Pass it on from the fountain
foundation for a better life.
There's a newly married couple on the racquetball team this year. Reporter Sydney Smith stopped by their practice this week and shares what their experience has been like.
It's one thing to act as a team in your marriage, but one couple shows us what it's like to be on an actual sports team together.
Kim wouldn't have done the racquetball team if we hadn't gotten married.
I hadn't known what racquetball was before I met him.
This is Dallas Heiner and his wife, Kimberly. The two married in June of this year and are now both on the BYU racquetball team.
Least favorite part is a given, 6 a.m. practice. No question about that.
I feel like it's helped us grow together though because we have that shared experience. Our class schedules aren't the same, so having that like wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, I think has brought us closer together. Dallas coaches me all the time, to the point at the very beginning it used to annoy me so bad, but it's gotten to the point where I recognize my faults more because I'm around people who play, and so having that personal coach is really nice.
The team has been great for that because she gets some time playing racquetball with someone besides me, so she doesn't always get my coaching, which is probably a good thing.
My favorite part of being on the team together is just that we're going to have this shared memory forever, so years down the road when we're playing racquetball together, we'll be able to reminisce of our time at BYU on the same team.
Yeah, being able to share a sport as a couple is very fun. Having a team that helps us to apply ourselves in it more often is great. If we weren't on the racquetball team, I'm guessing we'd go play like once a week for an hour. Instead, we get like 10 hours a week, so it's great.
You can watch Dallas and Kimberly play at the team's Holiday Hustle tournament next month. Reporting for Sportsline, I'm Sydney Smith.
BYU men's rugby team is hoping to finish this season undefeated. Sportsline reporter Karani Namunyu found out why this team has conceded just a few points since the season started. Karani?
The team has amassed 576 points in 7 matches, with 1 game remaining in the Rocky Mountain Conference. The BYU rugby team has conceded 34 points only in those 7 matches, dominating the Rocky Mountain Conference against other teams. Coach Steve St. Pierre says that the team is very committed on strategies to get back to the level of winning the national championship, which they won last in 2015. He adds that the focus has been on basic training for new players and getting the team to the national championship. He praised the defense for being solid and stopping opponents from scoring points.
I think the guys, generally speaking, have done well on defense. We haven't given up a lot of tries, but also, we've made a lot of mistakes. We've put ourselves under a lot of pressure on the defensive side of the ball, where we've made it a little bit harder on ourselves. So we're just going back to the film, looking at what we did right, what we did wrong.
St. Pierre emphasized that for the team to be successful, they are devoting more time on the process of preparing the team to play well rather than focus on results. Konapari, who plays as a fullback and had a great game against Wyoming, where he scored 2 tries and 9 conversions, believes that their defensive strategies are working.
We set a goal at the beginning of the season that we didn't want to allow any tries, that no freebie tries, and we've worked really hard to live up to that goal. We've allowed some, yes, but we have that goal going into every game that we're not going to allow points.
BYU has won 5 national rugby championships in 2009, 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015, and will be looking for the 6th one. The men's rugby team faces New Mexico in their last game of the conference tomorrow, the 16th, in Albuquerque. Reporting for Sportsline, I'm Karani Namonyo.
Thanks, Karani.
BYU men's golfer Peter Quest was named co-winner of the Ben Hogan Award for the month of October. BYU men's golfer Peter Quest was named co-winner of the Ben Hogan Award for the month of October. The award is given to the top golfer in the NCAA every month. This comes after Quest won the St. Mary's Invitational last week in Pebble Beach, California. He shares the honor with Christopher Gotterup of Rutgers. Quest has won 3 tournaments so far this season and 10 throughout his BYU career.
It is signing season for high school athletes, and BYU basketball announced some of their future Cougs that have signed national letters of intent. Spencer Johnson will play for the BYU men's team next season. Johnson is currently playing his redshirt freshman season at Salt Lake City Community College and has averaged 14 points so far this season. When he comes to Provo, he will have 3 years of eligibility. Richie Saunders is currently at Wasatch Academy, where upon graduation will serve a mission before suiting up for the Cougars.
Dallin Pepper is an 18-year-old from Spanish Fork and is the world's fittest teen.
Sportsline reporter Lindsay Peterson had a chance to meet with him. Lindsay, how was that?
It was amazing. Dallin Pepper is an amazing kid, and I got to hear all about how he became the world's fittest teen by winning the CrossFit Games for the last 3 years in a row.
Dallin Pepper is not your typical teenager.
Oh, I won the 2017, 18, and 19 CrossFit Games, which is like the biggest competition in the world.
That's right. Utah is home to the world's fittest team.
Back rack position, the better, and blink and you'll miss Dallin Pepper's yoke walk.
Dallin began CrossFit about 4 years ago, and it's quickly become his passion.
On average, it's like 3 to 4 hours, and then in the summer when I'm training for the CrossFit Games, it can be 3 to 5 hours.
Dallin has a work ethic beyond any teen or adult or anybody I've ever seen. He works hard.
When Dallin first started CrossFit, he wanted to go to the CrossFit Games in Madison, Wisconsin, but didn't make it.
He had big dreams, and so we're all kind of like, it takes a lot to get there.
But Dallin had a goal for the next year.
His goal was just to make it to the CrossFit Games. And once he made it to the CrossFit Games, he had a couple months of training, and he said, well, I'm going to win the CrossFit Games, and he did.
Dallin is atop the CrossFit world, but he doesn't let it get to his head.
As soon as you get cocky in CrossFit, it'll find a way to humble you.
And as for his future CrossFit goals?
I want to win the CrossFit Games as an adult.
And judging from his work ethic, he's well on his way.
CrossFit will teach you can do anything you set your mind to, and just because something's hard doesn't mean you can't do it.
And Dallin isn't all brawn. He has got brains too. He also wants to double major in business and engineering at Utah State, and then he wants to serve an LDS mission. So he's got a bright future ahead of him.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's fun.
Incredible. Thank you, Lindsay. The Jazz now hold the only perfect home record in the NBA. After holding off Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets this week, it's safe to say the Jazz have got a good season ahead of them.
Against Irving, isolation, Mitchell, cross, floater, no, snatched, and a score, Rudy Gobert.
Donovan Mitchell contributed a game-high 30 points, while Rudy Gobert recorded a double-double off 18 points and 15 rebounds. The Jazz will head to Memphis tonight to face Mike Conley's former team.
We'll be right back with Top Plays.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision. Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent.
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Look out below!
Coming in at number 3 this week, LeBron James cuts baseline for a wide-open signature dunk, looking like a young LeBron back in Cleveland.
Maybe that should have been.
Wide open, up.
Coming in at number 2, Bojan Bogdanovic pulls up from the corner for a game winner over the Milwaukee Bucks.
Takes it himself. Look at him turn back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles. Now he's got an entourage, and he's got a touchdown. He is Houdini.
Straight out of a Madden video game, Lamar Jackson spins away from 2 defenders and makes it look easy on his way to the end zone.
It's time for this week's matchups. We got a couple of good football games going on this weekend here at LaVelle Edwards Stadium. Our last home game of the season, BYU, Idaho State. Blake, what are you thinking?
BYU's last home game, last game for the seniors. They're doing pretty well right now. They're on, I believe, a 2-game winning streak. I'm going to go with BYU on this one. I don't think Idaho State has the tools that BYU won't be able to take care of.
Yeah, I am from Idaho. I definitely think BYU can take it. We've been playing really well these last couple weeks, so I think they'll keep the momentum going.
Yeah, and we don't really even know who the quarterback's going to be for Saturday, but I don't think it matters for Idaho State.
Yeah.
The struggle, especially against us, so BYU all the way.
Yeah, I think what you said, the quarterback is the hot issue with this game. It doesn't really matter. I think BYU's going to win either way, like you said. I hope Zach Wilson gets to start this game. I think that a quarterback shouldn't lose their starting job to injury. So I hope that Zach comes out, has a great game, gets right back on track to where he left off. Another great football game we have going on. This has college football playoff implications. Georgia traveling to Auburn. What do you guys think?
I like Georgia on this one. I think that their defense is a lot better, and I think Auburn is not going to be able to keep up with that.
I agree with Blake. I think Georgia has it. They are ranked higher, so I think they could take it home.
I am going for the upset. I think Auburn's going to win.
All right.
Pretty in the top 4, but Auburn Bo Nix is going to come ruin it all.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I like Auburn as well. I think Auburn's going to take this one. Here's a look at what's going on with a few of BYU's teams this weekend. The BYU women's soccer team will be in action tonight at 6, taking on Boise State. The women's volleyball team will take on conference foe San Diego with a home match tonight at 7. Men's basketball is on the road, taking on the Houston Cougars tonight at 7. And tomorrow afternoon, the football team will play their final home game of the season against Idaho State.
That's Sportsline for Friday, November 15th.
Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day, and don't forget, go Cougars.